What's going on, everybody? It's your host, Bad Ty Bricks. We're back for another week here at the Multiverse. This week, we have a great discussion, one that had to be had. We have an upcoming Batman movie on its way, and we are super excited. So today, we're going to discuss who is the best Batman of all time and what Batman movie is your favorite. And we might delve into some other things. But before we do all of that, we got to pay them bills and get you guys what you need. So let's get started. What's up? What's up?
Hey.
We're here as we say we'll be every week, and we are we're people of our words. So it is so good to see you guys. So happy to be here. Just really quick, man. How were your weekends, Holly? How was your week?
Yeah. So I saw that Tom Holland movie and Mark Wahlberg Uncharted. The theater was packed.
Oh, was it?
How was the movie?
It was good. It was really good, and I think the way it ended, there could be a second one. So
always, yeah. There's
well, thank you for that.
There's no
somewhat
more
of a spoiler. Yo, Tyrone, what about you, man? How was your weekend? Any movies?
Good.
Watch any movies?
Good. I didn't really go out and watch any movies or anything. I was out, kind of doing comedy stuff and everything, just being out and about as much as possible. It's a little cold this weekend up here in New York, but it's warming up a little, getting to the point where we can get back out and have some fun. So yeah, did a little bit of that this weekend. It was nice.
Well, that's good, man. I'm glad that the weekend is over. It was hectic.
Yeah.
And that sometimes happens, but we're here. It's another week. It's time to reset and get prepared for this weekend because there's going to be a lot of fun times this weekend, right, Holly?
Yes, fun times. Birthday celebration.
Fun times. Fun times. Well, look, guys, I don't want to waste any more time. We came here for one reason today and one reason alone, and that is to talk Batman. Let's get started with the best Batman of all time. I'll pull up this clip again of all of the Batmen that have played Batman at one point in time. And this may be some new information for some of the newer DC or Marvel fans that follow Batman and want to know the history of the Batman. Louis G. Wilson, which was well before my time. I don't know about you, Tyrone. You're pretty old. But Louis G. Wilson goes down in history as the first, obviously, Batman, and the youngest actor to ever play adult Batman. And it's unfortunate, but he was also the least successful. He was 23 years old when he got the part to play Batman. And a lot of the critics kind of like really went in on him about his weight. He wasn't the healthiest Batman. Some of them were saying he's kind of plump around the belly region. And that didn't, I guess, translate too well on screen. So unfortunate Louis G. Wilson didn't have the success that we would have hoped on the opening of Batman. But then we went on to Robert Lowry. Are these names like the names that I'm saying right now? Are they foreign? Do they sound foreign? Like I know I started with Adam West, so this is me learning something too. Tyrone, did you know about Louis G. Wilson and Robert Lowry as well?
No, I didn't know about those guys. I also was introduced to Batman through Adam West and that series, watching reruns when I was growing up. So that was, I'm sure that my parents probably knew, the Louis G. Wilson and Robert Lowry Batmans, but I just got Adam West, which was fine for me.
Yeah. Robert Lowry actually pulled up in the 1949s. and he, I think, originally started on the Batman and Robin show. But Lowry was a little bit older. I think he was around 35, 36, um, and had already established himself as a little bit of an actor at that point. By that point, one of the shows that I grew up watching as a kid was Zorro. I don't know if you guys remember Zorro, but that
Yeah.
was like one of my favorite shows. And The Mark of Zorro came out in 1940, black and white, fun movie, not much to talk about, but Robert Lowry was the star, I believe the star of the Mark of Zorro
Hmm.
movie as well. So he came in with some acting experience already. Um he was a little more successful obviously than his predecessor, but I don't think he still didn't kind of bring that fandom that Adam West was able to bring, despite a lot of critics saying that his the depiction of Batman was a little different from what they were looking forward to from the comic books. And we were talking before the show, Tyrone, and you mentioned that Adam West was not he didn't play Batman like the typical Batman. And could you like kind of let us know what you meant by that?
Well, his Batman was different from what we're used to. I
Mhm,
can't really speak to the Batman that came before him
mhm,
and their their kind of style and stuff like that. But Adam West's Batman was much sillier, much goofier Batman. It was very much, there'd be some fist fights here and there, some grappling hook walking along pulling themselves along the buildings, climbing up and shit like that. Uh, and there would be those crazy moments, but really it was just a fun show, like a ridiculous family friendly show. One of the most vivid scenes that I remember is actually this right here. It was Batman found this bomb. He's running around trying to get rid of this bomb, and he like runs over to like the water, and he notices there's like a little family of ducks there, so he can't throw the bomb there. And he like runs over to another area, and he notices there's like some innocent people over there, so he can't throw the bomb there. So it's just really goofy scene of like Batman trying to find different places to put this bomb, and it all just works out so comedically. So it was a very lighthearted Batman. The original Batmobile. Oh yeah, just and he played they played it more as like a detective, and then it was like fighting and stuff was kind of secondary.
mhm.
So there would be some sort of mystery, or Joker and Penguin and Catwoman and Riddler, like they were always hanging out together, like they were always chilling, just thinking of ways to mess with Batman and mess with Gotham and stuff. So they would throw something at him, he would figure it out, and then there would be like this big, end moment at the end of every show. Adam West, by the way, who voiced the mayor in Family Guy, Mayor Adam West, famously. And yeah, it was just very fun, very funny, and it was my first taste of Batman, so it was uh, it was perfect for my age.
Yeah, that was like what I think when Adam West debuted as Batman, there were a lot of it was mixed emotions about the
Mhm.
character. Either you loved him for his goofy charm, or you kind of hated him for like blemishing the Bat's image for like what I'm saying. So
Mhm.
it was campy, over the top, like, but it was like if you were, especially our age, being kids, the fun, goofy, side was okay with us. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like we weren't looking for Batman to be like, beating the hell out of anybody. You know what I'm saying? Not without the crack or the pop or the boom or the
Right.
like, we needed those captions and everything back
Yeah,
then. So
they were heavy on
yeah,
the onomatopoeias.
absolutely, absolutely. And that I think resonated with a lot of people for that reason, because that's our earliest memories of what Batman was depicted as on the big screen. Following Adam West, we started to get more into a newer, darker version of Batman,
Mhm.
and that was played by none other than the man himself, the one and only, Mr. Keaton. Uh, Mr. Keaton pulled up and gave us a different version of Batman, that I don't think, at the time anybody was ready for. And once we got it, we were just super excited. Holly, do you remember the first time you saw Batman, the Batman?
Yeah, so I was like 4 years old. So it's probably no, I was like 3 years old. So it was like 1993. Yeah, and I saw it on Laserdisc. For those of people who remember what a Laserdisc,
nice.
okay.
Yes.
And we had surround sound. So my dad was he grew up on the Adam West Batman, and so shared when he saw Batman. So yeah, I remember it, and I remember me and my little brother were like shocked at the opening credit scene and how dark and scary it was, and we're like 3 and 4 years old, like watching this.
Yeah.
But loved it and fell in love with it. And I will say Michael Keaton is my favorite Batman of all time.
We have to take a moment to react to laser discs for you young whippersnappers. At one point in time, there was a disc that looked like a huge CD.
Yeah, like the size of a vinyl record.
It looked like a record. It looked like a huge record CD, and you used to put it in your laser disc player, which looked like a CD player, but just larger.
Yeah.
And you played your movies on a laser disc, which I loved the laser disc. Actually,
Me too.
I mean, back then that was like the dopest. I remember we didn't have one. My aunt had one.
Yeah.
And I remember my first experience going there. Like when you saw the laser disc, it looked like a record. It was in an album. It was like in an album, and you took it out and put it in. My aunt was like really freakishly. Like she was like, don't put your hands on the, it was like that. Like, you couldn't even touch the laser disc. You might get a beating for that one. But yes, thank you for spotlighting laser disc. I thought I'd never get an opportunity to talk about laser disc, and you just afforded us that right. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
But Tyrone, when you first saw Michael Keaton in his debut as the Batman, what was your reaction when you first saw that movie?
I loved the movie. I was all about it. I remember, they went really heavy on like marketing toys and stuff like that too, which is, I was perfectly at that age. So I wanted all the toys. Want and get is two different things, but I still wanted them. Like it's one of the most iconic Batmobiles too. Like the Batmobile from that Michael Keaton Batman is to me the standard for Batmobiles. I think they absolutely killed it. They really nailed the tone, the feel. Michael Keaton was a great Bruce Wayne, and if I'm not mistaken, no, that one wasn't Tim Burton. No, was that first one Tim Burton? Yeah, that first one was Tim Burton. Yeah, and just absolutely just killed it. Of course, it gave us Jack Nicholson's Joker, which became the standard for Joker. It became the kind of high watermark at that time. And yeah, just overall, it's something that's still to this day, people hold in high regard and people look back on fondly. And I'm sure there are people who rewatch it and are like, screw Ben Affleck, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's out here comparing Ben's Batman to Michael Batman, but if you are, then yeah, go stick your head in the toilet somewhere.
Give yourself a swirly.
Yeah, give yourself a good swirly. You need to wake up. But he's one of, if not my favorite Batman of all time. And just the acting was just superb. Like, I'm not gonna say everybody in those movies were like superb actors, but you had a star-studded cast of actors.
Yeah.
You got Danny DeVito, Michelle Pfeiffer, Jack Nicholson. Like, I mean, Michael Keaton, and it was just an array of talent on a well-written script, and the acting just kind of just brought it all to life. And I just remember that being one of those movies that I remember watching over and over and over again, because we had VCRs and VCR tapes, when this was going on, and so like you had to get as much as you could get out of those VCR tapes. At some point, they would.
You wear them out.
Yeah, you wear them out.
So, wear them right out.
Yeah, so I wore mine out. Just so you know, I wore mine out. Definitely wore mine out. But that introduction to Batman then kind of took us a little bit further on up the road. We got Batman again. Batman Returns. We did get Batman Returns.
If I may, in between those two, though, we got Batman the Animated Series, which was monumental for a lot of people. Just wanted to give a little shout out to that, because I know we're doing live action, but Batman the Animated Series
really
helped
good too.
to really mainstream Batman. Like it was huge, and it became sort of like the prototype for like how we know the villains, how we know Batman. It became sort of the almost the instruction manual for it, because it was done so beautifully. That show a lot of the times gets overlooked because movies are the big thing. But man, Batman the Animated Series, that was when I really, really got into Batman.
Nah, like I think I'm in total agreement with you. I mean, and I think a lot of DC fans would agree that the animated series, when it comes to DC, has always kind of been the the talking point.
Mhm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when it comes to having a discussion about DC and Marvel, there's really no discussion until you bring up the DC animated series, which is sad, but it's true. And I would have liked to like kind of really go into that, but it's so much content with the DC animated series that I had to stay away from it, because I was like, oh my gosh, now you got all these different versions of Batman, and you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I mean, we could definitely come back and have that discussion one day, because I feel like there's a lot there to talk about. But after the original Batman movie, we then got Batman Returns. We had Michael come back, do another movie.
Mhm.
It was good. It was good. I don't think it was as good as the original. Some people would argue.
I'm
But
one of those.
yeah. Some people would
Yeah, I
definitely
like that
argue.
one too.
I liked it. I definitely liked it. There were key moments in that movie that I thought were like epic. The whole Joker in the middle of the street, like like, come to me, Bat, bats, I'm saying, pulls out a huge gun and boom, like that was like epic. That's one of the scenes that I'll never forget. I mean, first of all, the gun. How did you even fit a gun that long? Like, it was like he was pulling that.
Loved it.
I was like, this is epic. Like, this is, come on, man. And he's really gonna shoot the bat plane with that. If you haven't seen Batman Returns, please go out. Just for that alone is worth a nod.
The soundtrack for Batman Returns too.
Yes, Prince. We got the Prince,
Mhm.
like the Prince dancing in the streets joint. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? Yo, like, you're right. There are some.
It's a banger. Yeah, that whole movie was next level. Yeah.
Classics, definitely classics. Moving forward after that, we got, I believe, was it Batman? It wasn't
Batman Forever.
Mm-hmm. Batman Forever
It
was after
Batman Forever.
Returns.
With
we got
Val
Batman
Kilmer.
Forever.
Yeah.
With with your boy, none other than Mr. Kilmer himself, Mr. Val. Where are you at, Val? In my long list of things. Oh, there you are. There you are. I didn't put you in there that long, but okay. So we got Val Kilmer and his puffed out lips, which that's why I couldn't really take Val too serious. I feel like Batman doesn't wear this much makeup. When he's out there, about to kick some butt, he's not like, hold up, how's my makeup? And that's kind of, I think a lot of people were like, just didn't take Val seriously. But there is somebody here on the panel that does believe that Val did a good job and that the movie wasn't necessarily as bad as everybody says. So we're going to talk to that guy and get his opinion and find out what's going on here. Tyrone, you seem to have loved Val Kilmer.
Well, Val Kilmer he was a good Bruce Wayne and a good Batman. I wouldn't say he was great, but he was good. He was definitely better than Clooney. I think for me, the reason why I like, because Batman Forever, I love Batman Forever. And for me, it actually kind of, it was a little bit, it kind of harkened back to the old Adam West days. It was a goofy movie. Batman Forever was very silly. It was, I mean, they threw in, my favorite version of the Riddler in Jim Carrey. I mean, like, how you gotta love that, right? And then they had, these two working off each other, Riddler and Two-Face doing their thing. I mean, it was so, at times so ridiculous, and it was so just fun that that's what I think of when I think of like really great superhero movies, is like, how fun was it? Did I enjoy watching it? Did, and going silly with Batman, I think, is a way to, kind of take away some of the biggest problems that we have with Batman movies a lot. And it's that they're just too damn serious sometimes. Like, it's just, I think, forgetting about the silliness of all of this, like the silliness of the villains, the Penguin, the Joker, the Riddler, Cat. Like there's silliness in here. I think sometimes embracing that works out better. And this movie, in my opinion, was one of those times where it worked out well.
Well, it seems our comment section disagrees with you. Worst Batman ever. This DC fan stopped watching DC altogether after Val pulled up as Batman. Listen, I'm with you, Minnie. I thought Val was one of the worst. I mean, like the movie. When you say he's better than Clooney.
Yeah,
Clooney was so horrible. Like, that's not even a fair. Like, it's like comparing bad to worse. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, well, he wasn't that bad compared to Clooney. Clooney was terrible. And no one took him serious. That movie was terrible. No one took it serious. And so like, it's just not a good transition. You don't go from Michael Keaton to Val Kilmer and like. Like you were up here. Like, this was when Michael Keaton did Batman and then Batman Returns, DC was at the precipice. They were literally up there at the top of their game, and then they dropped Batman Forever, and it's like such a significant drop off that people were like, well, what are you doing, DC? But this is kind of what we found out DC has done consistently throughout their tenure, is the fact that they do something really good and then they follow it up with something really bad, and you're like, what are you doing? So I think I'm with you, Minnie. Now, Holly, you also kind of gave some credence to what Tyrone said about the movie, so you also enjoyed Batman Forever as well.
Like 50%, like 50-50. What I was going to say is that you have to think that it's not the same. It wasn't Tim Burton, who tends to have very dark overtones on his movie in general. And then you go to just a different style. I felt like it was a different type of Batman. And I think like you follow Michael Keaton and then this is what we got. And it's like, this is not what we're used to. Like, this is what the first Batman movie comes out in a way, and this is what's imprinted upon us. And then here comes this, and we're like, this just isn't it. So that's why I said I don't think he completely did a horrible job. I just think it's a hard act to follow after Michael Keaton. So
yeah, I think that's the biggest. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Tyrone.
I was gonna say, I think a lot of people's complaint, the biggest complaints that you hear about Batman Forever is that it didn't have Michael Keaton. And like, yeah, we would have all chosen to have Michael Keaton in Batman Forever without a doubt. But I think when you with Val Kilmer, I think he did okay. You know what I mean? He wasn't the best Bruce Wayne. He wasn't the best Batman. He was okay. He wasn't, like, to me, George Clooney made the movie worse. I think Val Kilmer was just like, he was just in the movie. Like, okay, cool. You're not going to stand out. Cool. The real fun in Batman Forever was the villainry. That was the real fun. But yeah, it was absolutely fair. Michael Keaton, to follow up Batman and then Batman Returns, that's going to put anybody in a position where that's a tough act to follow. I mean, he became Batman. Michael Keaton was Batman, and people, I mean, still to this day, damn near 40 years later, you know what I mean? People are still like, Michael Keaton is Batman.
Still the best. Yeah, he's the best. Yeah. Like the funny part about it is, and it's not really funny, but it's this is kind of a testament to the dedication and the loyalty that some actors or actresses have to directors. So Michael Keaton never said he didn't want to do another Batman. The problem was that Tim Burton wasn't directing, and he was like, "Oh, Joel Schumacher's directing." I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fair.
Like,
If he saw the
nah,
script and was
I
like,
don't
"Nah,
want to
I'm
have
good."
anything to do with this. I'm okay. Like, so I mean, we've been waiting for Michael Keaton to come back, and Michael Keaton's like, "Well, if you just get Tim Burton to do that, I'll sign on right now today." So I mean, that definitely is a testament to the dedication that we've seen recently, also with Guardians of the Galaxy, and how and also Zack Snyder, where you had a lot of the actors saying, "Hey, we're going to walk out. We're not going to do this unless you bring Zack back, unless you bring James back," and all of this kind of stuff like that. So it is interesting to see that dynamic. Now we have to talk about the next guy, because you've already alluded to him. That did a wash of a job, and that's Clooney. Like, I don't even know if I even bothered to pull up I did. I pulled up. We're not gonna do you like that, Clooney.
The absolute worst Batman movie, in my opinion.
Listen. I listen,
Yeah.
as an actor and also as a director, I actually love George Clooney. My mom has an infatuation with George Clooney. She's like, he's the sexiest, hottest white man in America. So like, I was always cool with him. I just thought he was a really good actor in a lot of the stuff that I saw him in. But this wasn't one of them. This was not one of his best acting performances, and I don't know because Tyrone, you said you think he just made it worse, and could it be that the script was just bad, because the movie was just terrible? It was horrible.
Yes.
So do we blame Clooney more than we blame the actual writers, or I mean, what do you think?
I feel like there's enough blame to go around for everybody. I feel like we have so much blame. We could give them some to-go plates with blame in it, and just like make sure they get enough. Like, that's how much blame we got to go around in this one. But it was just like Clooney was, and I'm sure it was one of those things, because this was a time where Clooney was like blowing up as like one of the best actors of his time. You know what I mean? Like, Clooney was a superstar, so he just kind of was like, yeah, I'll put on this suit and be George Clooney for a little while. You know what I mean? There was no Bruce Wayne in there. There was no Batman. There was just Clooney just messing around in a suit, and that's how the movie felt. And then, of course, it was just like the movie was so poorly written. Everything about it was bad. The villains were bad. It was all just so dumb. And in that way, it was so bad it almost became fun again. Like, if you ever mess around and watch Batman and Robin, like, you might enjoy yourself. You might accidentally enjoy yourself because it's such a stupid ass movie. You're sitting there just roasting it, and it's just fun. You know what I mean? It's one of those.
Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freak. Like,
talking about just, chill out.
Yeah, chill out.
Let's kill the dinosaurs.
My wife.
The Ice Age. It was like, no, it didn't,
man,
bro.
It
that's not history.
On so many fronts. So many fronts. Holly, did you ever see it? Like, did you see the Batman?
Yeah, so I did, and I've seen it like on TNT and TBS and like all those like cable channels, like just watching on reruns. No, I it's just like kind of like Tyrone said. I think I kind of just feel like you watch it and you're like, this is absolutely ridiculous. And I mean, George Clooney, I feel like he wasn't the best Batman, but there was a lot going on in that movie. I'm not even like,
nipples on the bat suit.
Right. It's just like, I don't think he was set up to be successful from the start. Like, there was just a lot going on.
That was a paycheck for everybody.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, George Clooney to be a good actor. And so I think it's just kind of like, to see him fail as Batman is kind of just like, huh? I don't know.
Yeah, and you know what? I think the disappointment in the movie and with how he was reviewed caused him to decide, you know what? I'm gonna just get into directing. I'm just gonna start directing my own stuff. Like, I'm not gonna let anybody set me up like this anymore. So and kudos to you, George, because George has had some really good movies that he's directed thus far.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's enough on you, George. Unfortunately, it's not much to talk about with your rendition of Batman. But let's get on to Lisa's favorite Batman, and one of my favorites as well, Mr. Bale. Mr. Bale came through and surprised a lot of us. I don't know about you guys, but prior to this, my experience with Christian Bale was in American Psycho.
Mhm.
Uh
Right.
I don't know if you guys have seen that movie. Really
Yeah.
good movie.
Yes.
But he played some, I guess a version of the same type of individual that he plays in as Bruce Wayne, which is like this kind of dark, broody type dude. I have first and foremost, have either of you ever seen American Psycho?
Yes.
Many times.
Okay, cool. So I don't have to explain.
Nope.
So when you saw Christian Bale for the first time as Batman on screen, and I'll go with you, Holly. What did you think? Did you see the similarities in the character and on American Psycho and Batman?
In certain parts of the trilogy, I did. When he tried to be like, to do like a distraction or something, the prick comes out.
Yeah.
It comes out. But he's such a method actor. So
Mhm.
when I first found out he was selected, I'm like, okay, this is interesting. But since he gives like 150% to any of the roles that he does, it's like I figured it would end up being good. So
Yeah.
he'd be a good Batman.
What about you, Tyrone?
Yeah, I didn't see a lot of Patrick Bateman in Bruce Wayne, but I did. I think this was like the first time that, not the first time, but like they went really deep into Bruce Wayne becoming Batman. I think that's what made Christian Bale stand out so much, is that we got to see somebody really, really bring Bruce Wayne to life, and then watch him become Batman, and that was what made that trilogy, I think, so satisfying, is that we had so much of a connection to Bruce Wayne, and that gave us it made the stakes higher for Batman. Anytime there was something that whether he was going up against Ra's al Ghul or whether he was going up against the Joker, the stakes were that much higher because we got such a good Bruce Wayne out of it. So without a doubt, Christian Bale absolutely killed the Bruce Wayne part of it. There's discussion amongst whether or not he went too hard on the Batman part, like with the growly voice and stuff like that. And I mean, the suits were amazing. Yeah. And it was a choice. It was an acting choice. He wanted to separate Bruce Wayne and Batman, and I can appreciate that. But I think that'll forever be the thing that divides people on Christian Bale, whether or not that was the right choice. And I think that's a fair question.
Well, one thing you mentioned that I think everybody can agree on about these the trilogy was the villainry. I think we got one of the best depictions and performances of the Joker in Heath Ledger. We also got a Bane, that was played by Mr. Tom Hardy. And wasn't it Tom Hardy?
Yep,
it was. Yep.
Yeah, and listen, you also mentioned Ra's al Ghul, and I mean, all of the villains in these movies like were just outstanding. Like, I mean, like the way they looked visually, the way they responded to, as far as like the Joker being, really, really, really psychotic in this version. Jack Nicholson was crazy, but fun in a fun kind of quirky way, like to bring some type of comedy to it. There was no comedy with Heath Ledger. There was just like, this is what you're gonna get. Like, there's no jokes involved. Yeah, I might be laughing, but this is not funny. And I think that kind of made this trilogy exceptional in those regards, because in the previous movies, even with the original Batman movie, Danny DeVito was joking. Like, he was joking. He might have looked scary a little bit with the white paint all over his face and all of that kind of stuff. But as far as like Joker didn't, I mean, Penguin didn't really do anything in those movies. Like, he set stuff up, but you didn't like see anything.
He ran from air.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it was nothing. It was like, this was the first time you really got to see villains at work. I mean, what do you think, Tyrone?
Yeah, I think Heath Ledger specifically set, like I said earlier, with setting bars, but like he set a bar for what we want out of superhero villains, and that's real 3-dimensional characters who give you just a lot of they give you so much more than just I'm evil, here's my plan, blah blah. You know what I mean? Like Heath Ledger's Joker was so layered and so crazy, so it was so much fun to watch. And I mean, anytime you see a Joker pop up, the first thing somebody says is it wasn't as good as Heath Ledger, or is this going to be the new Heath Ledger Joker? That kind of thing. So that when that's your legacy, then you've pretty much changed that character forever.
Yeah, we got the comment section going crazy, and shout out to the comment section. Y'all are lit like y'all always are. And this one right here, Lisa, I have to admit, Equilibrium was one of the better movies that people don't really talk about. Like,
that's a good one.
That was like one of the better movies. Uh-oh. Can you guys hear that?
It sounds like somebody's getting somebody's trying to get contacted on their communicator.
Yeah, I'm.
Is this the Enterprise? Is the Enterprise trying to get?
I don't know where it is, so I'm like, I wish I did, so I can turn it off.
Computer.
But whoever that is, I'm doing a show right now. Please don't call me. So but Equilibrium was one of the best movies that I've ever seen visually, and it really didn't get like, it was like one of those things, like one of those movies that you don't hear a lot of people talk about. Like, I don't even know that a lot of people even know about Equilibrium.
Right.
But if you don't, I suggest you go and check it out, because they brought a whole new dynamic to fighting that has not been touched on in any other movie ever since they did it, which was
I feel like Equilibrium walked so the Matrix could run. I feel like is the because Equilibrium was I believe it came out before the Matrix.
I don't know that it did. I don't know that it did. We'd have to find that out, because I do remember seeing the Equilibrium. I don't know that it came out before the Matrix. Please research that.
Oh no, you're right. The Matrix came out first. Out first. So it's like, the Matrix definitely inspired a lot of Equilibrium.
Yes,
without a doubt. And yeah, it was almost like if you mixed 1984 with the Matrix, and it was like this really, really cool ass mind-bending story. Who you're not sure what the hell's going on for a little while, but like awesome action scenes.
Yeah, we might discuss that one day. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but that's a really good movie. So that is definitely on my what's to watch list. Check out Equilibrium if you get a chance. I promise you won't be disappointed.
Oh, and just to Lisa's comment there, The Machinist, real quick, that's a movie where Christian Bale almost destroyed his body. Like Holly, you were talking about him being a method actor. Like, he lost an incredible amount of weight to essentially play somebody who's anorexic, and he absolutely looked the part. So like that's how far that dude's willing to go for
scary. Scary. There's a couple of guys like that in Hollywood. Well, I mean, there's obviously more than a couple, but there's a few guys that I know off the top. Guy, what is his name? Guy Pearce.
Guy Pearce, yeah.
Guy Pearce is another one that is like that.
Jared Leto is very method.
Jared Leto is another one. There's another guy, and I can't Viggo Mortensen.
Oh, Viggo Mortensen, yeah.
Viggo Mortensen, yeah. He's another one that does stuff like that. So kudos to them, man, and shout out to them, because that is definitely a lot of pressure to put your body under to do a performance, but they do it, and they did it masterfully. So moving on, we can all agree that the trilogy was really, really good. The acting was superb. The villainry was on point. But then that kind of transitions into our next Batman, which there's a lot of people that don't like the original, but are somewhat feeling a little bit better about the second version. We'll get into that, but let's jump into that Batman that we're referring to, which is none other than my guy, your guy,
Batfleck.
That guy, this guy, my guy, Ben Affleck. Ben, I don't know. I'm gonna start with you on this, Holly. because I personally like Ben Affleck as Batman, but I understand why people had their reservations about it. Now we'll first discuss the version that everybody has a problem of, which was the Batman versus Superman, Ben Affleck. Uh, First of all, did you see Batman versus Superman?
I did several times.
Cool. So, what did you find wrong? We'll start that way. What did you find wrong with this version of Batman in that movie?
So I think it's just like the origin story of like the Ben Affleck Batman. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like something's missing. And so I just have a hard time believing Ben Affleck is Batman. I don't know. I feel like I don't have enough. I don't know. I don't feel like I have enough. I don't know. It's not like, it's funny because like if you think about Michael Keaton's Batman, you kind of just, Batman just starts and that's the movie. Where it's like you have Christian Bale's Batman, because I think they had built this whole story from start to like him not being Batman anymore and trying to like move on. Then it's like going back to just Ben is Batman, and I'm kind of like, I don't know. I need the story. I need more story. I don't know. So that's kind of what I feel is wrong with it. So
Tyrone, how about you? What did you not like about that version of Batman?
I think Ben Affleck made an all right Batman. I think he made a terrible Bruce Wayne. I think Ben Affleck's not a very charismatic guy. Bruce Wayne is supposed to be sort of like this playboy, a very magnetic sort of, billionaire guy. And he just seemed like Batman's outfit was at the cleaners. You know what I mean? Like he just was kind of mopey whenever he was Bruce Wayne, just kind of moping around, just, I'm not in my costume. You know what I mean? There's never a moment where he showed anything other than just kind of like being there. And to his credit, though, even though I don't see Ben Affleck as a very charismatic person, I don't think he was given much to work with in Batman vs Superman. There wasn't much there.
Okay, and I can agree there.
Yeah,
I can definitely agree there. And that's why I'm breaking him down into a couple of parts, because I feel as though people need to understand why you got that version of Batman. Tyrone, you alluded to it. There wasn't the storyline, didn't give him an opportunity to flourish. But also, what people need to understand is sometimes what goes on in your real life transitions to what's going on in your work life. And the version of that Batman, or should I say that version of Ben Affleck, was a version of a man whose heart wasn't in what he was doing. And you could tell his heart wasn't in what he was doing. And I think the reason I'm mentioning that is because if you watched him in Batman versus Superman and then watched him in the Justice League, the Zack Snyder cut, not the Josh Whedon cut. Josh Whedon was the one who wrote it originally. Okay, just make
he finished the Justice League when Zack Snyder had it.
Yeah. So what you saw in the Zack Snyder cut is a more reinvigorated Ben Affleck, one who is now conscious of taking care of himself, more healthy, more inspired to delve into the character. And I personally thought he did a better job as Batman in the Zack Snyder cut than he did in the Whedon cut. Also, love found him again. In the Zack Snyder cut, he was able to resurrect his relationship with a woman who he was in love with the whole time. And I'm always happy to see people find love again. And you could definitely see that there was a significant change in the way that he conducted himself in the movie and the way that he portrayed Batman in the movie. Tyrone, do you think that I'm onto something there, or am I just totally off?
It's possible. I think it's possible. It's you know, sometimes you can't help for those things to kind of just like shine through whatever. I think, in my opinion, as an actor, you know, if you're suffering from grief and loss and heartbreak and stuff like that, you got to take that shit and put it into the character. Uh, is there a more full of grief character than Bruce Wayne? You know what I mean? Like, even when he's doing his playboy shit, like he's hiding his grief and his you know, his battles with the loss of his parents and, you know, his identity and stuff like that. So, in my opinion, as an actor, if you consider yourself one of the top actors, then, you know, you gotta take that, internalize it, and use it. Any director who's directing a play or directing a movie or directing a show, whatever, if you're going through some shit, they're like, use it. You know, understand it, use it to your advantage. You know, inject it into this character. Whereas, you know, there just wasn't much character there at all. So, I do think that maybe his personal life could have affected it, and if that's the case, I still think that's an indictment on him as an actor, because he wasn't able to you know, to take that and, you know, turn it into a grieving Batman. He was just kind of more mopey and just blah, you know, which that's not really an emotion, that's sort of an avoidance technique.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong in anything that you just stated, but I think it's when you're going through something, um, and it's really affecting you. As easy as it is to say, to add that, you know, flavor or whatever is going
Mhm.
on in your life to the character, I think some people have a way of dealing with trauma. Some people have a way of dealing with stress or whatever it is that he was going through at the time, and then some people become you know, reclusive and just
Mhm.
shut down. And
Yeah, he
I,
probably should
I
have
could
done that.
visibly see that he was going, like, just because I've
Yeah.
seen him in so many different movies, and just to see him as this out of shape Batman, you know, like just coming to work, just like, I'm here, you know, like Alfred, yeah, pour me another drink, you know, like, you know, like I felt like that's the version we got.
Yeah.
And when you got the Zack Snyder cut, you saw him like, okay, he's poking his chest out, he's more confident, you know, like, and I saw some things that I felt like you could build on as a Batman with Ben Affleck. You know, some people like Lisa just hate him as an actor all the way. You know, it doesn't matter what he does. It's just hate him in everything, hate him in anything. As soon as I see his name on the credits, I'm like, you know, so I get it. And that may be the same problem that is facing the next guy on our list, who is now currently um our new Batman, as it stands. And that is none other than our very own Robert Pattinson. Um, Now, I think with Robert Pattinson, I think he's a superb actor. Holly, you've seen him in a few things. Um, do you think that he's going to get this bad rap, and then like people are just gonna like be hating on the film, or do you think that if the film is really good, then all is forgiven for Mr. Robert Pattinson?
Yeah, I'm kind of, I think even though the Ben Affleck Batman is not, too so far in the distance, I think Robert's a really good actor, and so I think if the movie does well, I think, yeah, I wouldn't say all is forgiven, but I think we can give him his own lane to be Batman and see where that goes.
What about you, Tyrone? Are you? I mean, I know we watched Tenet, and I thought Robert Pattinson did a great job, even though I didn't like the movie as a whole. I
Mm.
thought he did a masterful job with his acting. Do you think that he has the chops to really, you know, show us up on this Batman character, or are we? And do you think we're in for maybe another disappointment?
I wouldn't be surprised if he did a better job than most are expecting. I think he's a very good actor. I don't know I can't get a sense from the previews of what type of Bruce Wayne we're gonna have and what type of Batman we're gonna have, other than just like, what we see is these dark shots and just typical Batman stuff. So we don't get really a sense of who he is and how he's different from what we've had before. But for me, I'm going in just blank slate. Like, here's a fresh Batman, no expectations, no not carrying over any disappointment from Ben Affleck or not carrying over any expectations from Christian Bale or anything like that. It's just going to be a completely fresh take, and it's up to him. You know what I mean? It's completely up to him, and I think he's capable. I think what it's going to come down to is does the movie give him does the movie put him in a position to be a Batman that people are going to love and hang on to, or is it just going to be I have my doubts, not doubts. I have some concerns about the movie itself, just based on the trailers. But even still, blank slate. But I do think my prediction is he ends up somewhere in the middle of like not as bad as Clooney or most people would think Val Kilmer or Ben Affleck or whatever, but also not Michael Keaton, not Christian Bale. Somewhere in the middle where people are like, all right, we could do more Robert Pattinson. This is okay, and let's have some fun with it. I hope anyway.
Yeah.
What about you, Holly? Do you feel the same way?
Like similar. Like I'm kind of trying to be open-minded. Like it could be a whole new, like I said, its own, maybe at the start of its own trilogy. And so we gotta see how things play out. Just thinking like with Christian Bale, when we saw Batman Begins, it's like, we're like, all right, like we know Christian Bale to be a good actor, but this is Batman is Batman. Like, the history, the fans, like, I mean, that's a big role to fulfill. And so I'm trying to stay positive that it sounds like it's from what I've read that I think this is Robert's like childhood dream to play Batman. So I feel like
every man's childhood dream.
Right. So well, I mean, yeah, I guess on the big screen,
every man's dream to be a superhero.
Everyone wants to be the actor that plays Batman. So, but I don't know. I think, yeah, I'm going in with an open mind that whatever this is going to be, yeah, it just needs to be Roberts, and I'm trying not to compare him to, let's see. Well, it can't be Ben. So next closest Christian of the most recent Batmans. So, but I don't know. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, what time frame is this taking place? Like, I'm trying to.
Good question.
Yeah, it's a very good question because it's hard to tell based on the trailers. It looks
kind of on the younger side. That's what I'm saying. I was like, when is this? Is it when he first starts out as Batman and becomes Batman? That's what I'm saying. I feel like that all kind of like plays into it.
It seems like they're going right into the middle of like Batman's doing Batman shit. And like,
okay, that's what I'm thinking too.
That's what I'm getting from it. Cause like, yeah, again, they're not showing, they haven't given us a lot of Bruce Wayne. They haven't given us a lot of plot outside of like, here are some of the villains. So it's going to be a really interesting, I think the reactions to this movie are going to be a lot of fun. I think there are going to be a lot of people who are just like, that wasn't what I expected. Or like, oh my God, that was amazing. But yeah, hopefully, I really hope that he succeeds. I hope that this Batman movie is a really strong Batman movie. So we can like start getting, we can start giving Batman the respect that he deserves.
Yeah.
Yes.
DC.
I would like to see that as a
Marvel.
DC fan, as a Batman fan. I would love to see him finally get the respect that I feel like he deserves. One of the things that I think that bodes well for Mr. Pattinson is that he is accompanied by a slew of stars to help him out in this venture. This is just some of the stars that are pulling up on this new Batman movie. You have so many more. I don't have that pulled up right now.
There's a lot,
but there's a lot of stardom pulling up on the screen, and we've seen movies before that have just encouraged and kind of put a whole lot of stars in place, and typically those type of movies get nominated for Oscars and win awards and stuff like that. I mean, you have such a large ensemble of really good acting. I I don't know, man. I just get the vibe that it's gonna be so hard, but somehow DC can find a way. But I feel like it's gonna be so hard to like mess this up with this many good actors. Like you got your boy Jeffrey Wright, who's killing it on Marvel and DC. Hello, give me them 2 checks. I'm talking real stuff. He's like Jeffrey Wright is over here collecting 2 checks at the same damn time from rivals. Listen, talk about riding the fence.
DC's recruiting.
Andy Serkis too.
Yeah.
Andy Serkis. Yep.
And I think, by the way, I just think it should be said that, and in a perfect world, we have an amazing Marvel lineup, amazing Marvel movies, and amazing DC movies, amazing DC shows. Like we could have it all. We can have it all, y'all. Like it could be so beautiful.
That would be awesome.
DC needs to step it up, so that's why they're being.
I'm waiting for it.
Yeah.
Now listen, guys, really quick, because we're pressed for time, so I'm gonna ask you guys, based on the lineup that we just ran through, who is your all-time favorite Batman? Holly, go.
Okay, so for the 3rd time, Michael Keaton. Just kidding. No, Michael Keaton. I to this day, like whenever I see him in a movie, I'm like, that's Batman, even if it's not a Batman movie. Like, you're Bruce Wayne. Okay.
Tyrone. I kind of feel like it's gonna be the same, but hey, who's your?
I mean, given everything that we talked about and everything that I feel, I think the nod still goes to Michael Keaton on Bruce Wayne and on Batman, and I think that he just. He was just the right guy for that job and just absolutely nailed it. And I think we'll be seeing him some more as Batman. So, look out for that.
You're right. We will be seeing him some more as Batman. Thank you for that. Yes, we will in fact be seeing him in the upcoming Flash movie. So stay tuned to that. The costume looks like it still fits.
He's in the Marvel movies too, Michael Keaton.
Yeah, he's our Vulture in Spider-Man.
Listen, man, if you can get both of them checks, get them.
That's the thing. Like
getting that money.
I so hope that we just get this wonderful world where like actors are popping back and forth between Marvel and DC, and it's just this beautiful thing. And there's like, and we're just like everything's great. Like that's the world I'm ready for. We need it.
Yeah.
Give it to
that
us.
world is a coming. It's a coming. so look. Listen. I'm not gonna rattle the boat, shake the boat, whatever. Listen, it is what it is. Michael Keaton, until somebody else can dethrone him, is the all-time best Batman ever. Yeah. There's no arguments here. Maybe we'll come back and revisit this after the new Batman movie, and I doubt it, but we'll see. We'll see.
It has to be like in the 2000s or the 2010s. Who's the best Batman?
I really think because of Robert Pattinson's acting prowess and skill, I think he is going to, if they wrote him a good script, he will bring out whatever it is that you intended him to bring out in this movie. And the dynamic between him and a very, very, very beautiful young lady that I have to give credence to. Listen, I can't wait to see this dynamic and this version of Catwoman. But like I said, we're pressed for time. So really quick, and this was the second half of what we were talking. We got sidetracked, people. I'm sorry. We do that sometimes here at the Multiverse. So what I'm going to jump into is, and we won't spend a lot of time on this, but what is your favorite Batman movie of all time? We've now all gotten out who our favorite Batman is, but now what is your favorite Batman movie of all time?
Who's starting?
Well, you just opened your mouth. You go ahead. Start it.
Batman Returns for me. I'm a really big fan of the first one, obviously, and I love a lot of these movies, but Batman Returns for me was just about perfect. I really I loved everything about it. It was one of my favorites to watch. It doesn't watch as good as it used to, it's aged a little bit, but still like so much love for that movie. It was huge when I was that age.
Okay. Holly,
Hmm.
what's your
Oh my
favorite
gosh.
Batman
So
movie of
so
all
Tyrone
time?
took it, but I'm gonna throw one in there. I really like The Dark Knight Rises. That is probably like, if it's not like Batman Returns, which would be mine, but that's like literally close, like
It could still be your
close.
favorite.
Yeah, like that Dark Knight Rises. I think I like the way it wrapped everything up, and you got to see kind of like all the villains and the superheroes, like everybody kind of got to wrap up their story, and I think it was done very nicely. And so it's one of my favorite. And it's like where Batman gets to kind of have a happy ending and like live a life. Hopefully, I think that is why I like it too.
Mm. Ooh, this one, believe it or not, was tough for me.
Mhm.
Because the Dark Knight, the Dark Knight trilogy was
Mhm.
really, really good. Heath
Mhm.
Ledger
Yeah.
was amazing. Like he was
Mhm.
absolutely amazing. The Why So Serious is going
Yeah.
to go down as a classic comment in a movie like that. That'll always go down as like that was just like I so it was very, very tough for me, but I mean that is definitely up there in my top two.
Mhm.
Um but I'm gonna have to go with uh, I'm gonna have to go with Batman. And the
That's up there
reason
too for me.
the reason I don't go with Batman Returns, it although it had its epic parts because we talked about that as well. I have to go with Batman just because of the transition and what it meant to like the culture and just everybody who
Mhm.
was like that was like huge like when it came out like that like the introductions to the Joker, Jack Nicholson, and like
Yeah.
like everything, Michelle Pfeiffer. It was just
Well,
epic.
Michelle Pfeiffer was in Returns.
Well, she was in Return.
Yeah.
Yeah, my bad.
And Cattrall was
But
in. Yeah.
yeah. So but Batman for me was like just for what it meant to the culture and what it meant
Mhm.
as far as coming out was just like I just remember, like I told you, I watched the tape until I broke the tape, until the tape didn't work anymore.
Yeah.
Like that's how good it was. And again, around that time, we didn't have a whole lot of comic book movies going out.
No. Nope.
This was like that
Amazing.
transition into
Yeah.
comic book movies and stuff like that. So like that just for that alone, I think Batman will definitely go down as my all-time favorite movie.
Nice.
Now like I said, really quick before we get out of here, I had to go ahead and jump on this and I want to go ahead and play the trailer for the new Batman movie. But
Mhm.
before I did that, and we can come back for this and please let us know in the comments if you would like us to come back and do a story
A segment or something.
episode on these characters that I'm about to talk about because hey, I mean, why not? Um, but listen, we talked about the new Catwoman that is going to be played by none other than the beautiful Zoe Kravitz. But we can't talk about her without giving a shout out to the the goats of
Yeah.
Catwoman. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, Catwoman is a very attractive, very formidable villain. Or can we even call her a villain? Because she
Sort
seems
of an
so nice.
anti-hero.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's more of an
Yeah.
anti-hero. Like she seems like a nice lady. But they like all of the cat women have been gorgeous women. I want to just go down the list. Julie Newmar, who was the first Catwoman, 1966. Lee Merriweather, 1967. Eartha Kitt, who is one of my
Yeah.
all-time favorites, 1967.
Mhm.
Michelle Pfeiffer, Halle Berry, Anne Hathaway, and now Zoe Kravitz kind of joins that bunch. But I mentioned one of my all-time favorites, Eartha Kitt.
Yeah.
Oh my God, one of the best Catwomen
Mhm.
ever to take the mantle of Catwoman. Nobody, and I mean nobody, has done the cat purr quite like Eartha Kitt. I don't think anybody has been able to set it off like Eartha was able to set it off. Like every time I hear it to this day, I get little chills when she does that. I can't even do it, so I'm not even going to try to do it. But when she does it, it just gives me these chills. But this woman, like she epitomized what Catwoman was supposed to be. This sexy, sultry, but also diabolical. You know what I mean? Like she also had her little it was corny when you saw it visually, but she had a purpose. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I love that about her character.
Also, during a time where they weren't rushing to put black women on screens.
They
you know
were
what
not.
I mean? She stood out and absolutely killed it.
I'm glad you just said that, Tyrone, because we have a clip.
It's Catwoman. I said ridiculous, nonsense, foolish prattle. How can Batgirl be the best anything when Catwoman is around? No best dressed list is complete without the addition of the Queen of Criminals, the Princess of Plunder, yours untruly. Right, Manx and Angora?
Right.
In any comparison between Batgirl and myself, she runs a poor third. Ah, but I can, gentlemen, and I have. You ladies with your fancy hairdos, what do you know about beauty? After you suffer the effects of my hair-raising balm, you will never be able to raise your heads in public again. Then we'll see who's the fairest of them all.
No, not our hair, anything but that.
Yeah.
Who would have known that you could terrorize white women just by messing up their hair?
Beehive up.
They were like, no, not my hair. Anything but that. Like, she was like, I'm messing that hair up today. But I mean, like, yeah, there was a lot of corniness, you know, to it. But her acting was not that. That was not, you know, part of that corniness. She, like I said, epitomized everything that you would want in a Catwoman. The purr, the way she said things and the way she expressed herself, the sultriness of her, everything that I really think a Catwoman should display was displayed with Eartha Kitt.
Yeah.
So
I definitely in Catwoman.
Yes, absolutely. So I think that she for me is one of my favorite Catwomen, if not the favorite Catwoman of all time. But there was one more that I really wanted to spotlight really quick, and that was just because her portrayal on screen just was like, ooh, oh my gosh, who was that? And that was none other than this young lady who, if I can get to it, because I have so many things up here. Where did I put you, young lady? There you are. This one.
Yeah.
Listen, Michelle Pfeiffer did it for me. I don't know about you guys, but this scene right here will forever go down. When she licked Michael Keaton's lips, I was like, I was just like, my mom was over there like, close your eyes. I was like, oh, no, I don't want to close my eyes. But listen, one of the sexiest, most beautiful versions of Catwoman. I didn't really think like her acting in that was like, ooh, stellar. But like her, just the way, the visual and the depiction. Oh man, I don't know. Tyrone, did you kind of get the little tingle sensation when you saw that version of
1992 would have put me at about 9 years old.
Oh yeah,
if I'm not mistaken, and it would have definitely been an awakening moment for me when Michelle Pfeiffer showed up as Catwoman. You know, she had the walk and stuff, and you know, she just had that very, you know, she played Selena Kyle really like submissive and you know, just kind of really just kind of a goof almost.
Yeah.
And then Catwoman was just, I mean, just sex. It was just sex was Catwoman, and she killed it. She absolutely killed it. And yeah, she's Eartha Kitt, Michelle Pfeiffer, y'all are up there. Zoe Kravitz, you got a lot to live up to, but if anybody can do it, Zoe Kravitz can do it. Zoe Kravitz is a goddess.
Yes, she is absolutely gorgeous. Holly, I know you're not a man, but I know you can appreciate a beautiful woman, a beautiful, strong woman. And I think Catwoman was the and Michelle Pfeiffer's version of Catwoman was depicted as such, as a strong, independent woman. So when you saw this, because you were probably around the same age we were, for the first time, what did you think of Catwoman?
No, funny enough, I really admired her, and I was like, hey, this would be cool to be for Halloween or be her. Like I mean, if you couldn't be Batman, right, as a girl, you're like, all right, I'll be Catwoman. And so she did. I mean, she definitely held her own, and she was very persuasive and powerful, and she had some pretty badass scenes in the movie. So hey, honestly, when I think about it, sometimes I'm like, was she the main star for a lot of the movie too? I mean,
she got a good story too. Like it was like she was abused and she was there was a crime committed against her, and she came for revenge, and it was amazing.
That she did. And got a clip.
Hear me roar. The thought of busting Batman makes me feel all dirty. Gotta go. Girl talk.
Selena.
That's my name, Maximilians. Don't wear it out or I'll make you buy me a new one. You poor guys. Always confusing your pistols with your privates.
Oh, please.
I wouldn't touch you to scratch you. Honey, I'm home. Oh, I forgot I'm not married.
Who's the man behind the bed? Maybe you can help me find the woman behind the cat.
How about a kiss, Santa Claus? Meow.
I think that might have been the sexiest meow I've ever seen before. Like meow, like yes, Michelle Pfeiffer is definitely like
she went in.
Yeah,
she went all the way in, and I'm really, I wonder who filled out the Catwoman suit the best. Like that as another thing, because although she didn't actually play in a Batman movie, she was afforded her own movie as Catwoman. And that's Halle Berry, which again, it just seemed like they were like, we're going full on sex appeal, like we just want, like, listen, the less clothes you wear, the better for the show, for the movie, and that's what we got with Halle. Like Halle, Halle. That's what we got with Halle was sex appeal on display for all to see. And
the storyline sucked though.
The movie was not
terrible.
Good. It was
they did Halle wrong and they did Catwoman wrong. Like
like I feel like I don't know, because Halle Berry, she played Storm, and I just felt like there was
they did
more
Storm wrong too. Poor Halle.
I know she don't get like the best. Yeah, but the superheroes.
I feel like Halle Halle Berry so much more talented than a lot of she was in that weird time, like late 90s, early 2000s, where she was just sort of like, it was just sex appeal with her, but like she had so much more to offer, and she had to go like so out of her way to show how much of a talented actor she was. So in something like Catwoman, they're like, hey, Halle Berry, you're like, everybody agrees you're the sexiest woman alive, so let's just put you in a skimpy outfit and have you jumping and running around. And it was just unfortunate.
So, really quick, guys, who is your favorite or best Catwoman of all time? Holly, go.
Oh, okay. Michelle Pfeiffer. So she's my favorite. I don't know. I can't see anyone else. Not yet. Maybe Zoe to do it, but right now, just her.
Tyrone.
I'm gonna give it to Eartha on this one. Just breaking down the barriers, playing it extra hard, like really just killing. I'm gonna give it the nod to Eartha on this one, with much respect to Michelle Pfeiffer.
Absolutely. I'm gonna second that emotion. And definitely it goes to Eartha for me. Until somebody can perfect that purr, better than Eartha, she's gonna always be the best Catwoman. Like nobody. I think Cardi B is close, but with her own firm. But yeah, Eartha, the barriers, like you alluded to it, the barriers that she broke as a black woman in the 1940s and 60s and 50s and all of those. You know, what I mean, she was the epitome of what I would think a Catwoman should be. And so and look, Michelle, again, listen, thank you for all the sex appeal you brought and everything. And you're close, you run a close second, very close second. But until somebody can get that purr down.
I just wanted to say yes, Therapy, good call. You got it. Perfect, right on time. So yes, Eartha would do it for me. So listen, we went over everything, guys. There was one last thing I'm going to do, and we'll do that, and we'll get out of here really quick. And that is for anybody who has not seen the most recent Batman trailer. Again, the movie's coming out. What is the date? March 4th, right?
4th.
Yeah, March 4th.
Right. So the movie will be dropping on March 4th. This is the last trailer that we've gotten, and I want to go ahead and play that right now, and then we'll go ahead and wrap things up. But I appreciate everybody coming through.
Absolutely.
And let's go ahead and play that trailer.
When that light hits the sky, it's not just a call, it's a warning.
From your secret friend, who, haven't a clue. Let's play a game, just me and you.
This is about a king. And prisoners to match. I'm just here to unmask the truth about this cesspool we call a city. I've been trying to reach you. How am I part of this? Oh, you're really not as smart as I thought you were.
It's only gonna get worse for you.
Selena, don't throw your life away.
I can take care of myself.
You new friend of yours? I'm not so sure.
Maybe we're not so different. Who are you under there?
I'm vengeance.
If you are justice, please do not lie.
Mr. Wayne.
What is the price for your blind eye?
This continues. It won't be long before you've nothing left. I don't care what happens to me.
You better stop your goddamn vehicle now!
Come on, vengeance. Let's get in some trouble.
Lie to me. We'll have our scars, Bruce. We need to save them. Here and now.
Are you just hideously scarred?
I'm gonna tell you, just based off of that trailer, I'm excited. I'm excited for this. And yes, ADV Jim. Yes, the vampire did turn into a bat. Yes, he did. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, is this the first time you guys saw that trailer? Tyrone, you're muted.
Yeah, it's the first time I saw that one. Thank you. First time I saw that one.
Yes.
Okay, so that gives you a little bit. Does it give you a little bit more, a little bit of more of an idea of maybe how they're gonna go about with this movie, or is it still very vague?
It reinforces my concern for the movie in that it's going to be very joyless, and that scares me that it's just going to be all dark and scary and brooding and that kind of thing. Which I understand it's Batman, but I like to have some joy in my Batman. So that's my concern for the movie.
How about you, Holly?
I feel like I have more questions. Like I don't like I said, I'm trying to remain open-minded and positive. So it just makes me have more questions. Because in my mind, I'm like, when I watch these trailers, I'm like trying to piece it together, like where I think this is in the story. But since I've kind of distanced myself from Batman since like Ben Affleck and and all that, I think I have more questions in a good way, I think. Yeah.
Do we have any idea of runtime for this movie?
I can check it out real quick. It won't take too long to find it.
No. Because I'm curious to see, because with such a star
2 hours and 55 minutes.
Jesus
3
Christ.
hours. That makes about sense. Listen, no. Now that I know that it's almost 3 hours.
It's his origin story. We know it now.
Yes. but listen, honestly, I mean, of course, we were, the Zack Snyder cut was excessive. But a 3-hour movie with this lineup, like when you show me the casting, and I see all of the names that are on there, and then you tell me, okay, we're gonna fit this into a 3-hour frame, I'm a little bit more comfortable than I would be if you just gave me 2-3 stars and gave me a 4-hour movie to watch or 3-hour movie to watch, and now I have to just depend on them being really great. I think the supporting cast, like we've talked about, because it's so vast, in the different diversities and different experiences as far as acting go, I think you put that lineup with Robert Pattinson, who we all agree is a really good actor. I think you may have something here. 2 hours and 55 minutes. You better, because I mean, people start getting restless after 2 hours. They're like, shit, how much longer is the movie?
Yeah, if it drags, then it's gonna be rough. I think, that runtime is gonna make or break it. It's either gonna give us a lot of really great story, or it's gonna drag like a motherfucker at some point, and we're gonna be like, damn.
Yeah.
Now, Derpy, I saw that you said you're gonna watch it on March 1st. How's that work? Because put me on. I'd like to watch it March 1st too. Is there any way we can get down with that?
He's going to use the Speed Force. He's going to run into the future on March 1st. He's going to run into the future and then run back, and he's going to be like, "I already saw it."
Oh man, Derpy is just dropping the jewels today. So the original cut was for Derpy. Do you work for DC? All this insider, yeah. I mean, like he said, an original cut was 4 hours. A fan of it.
I like it.
Derpy, hit the DMs, man. We need to talk. We need to get you on the show. But listen, guys, we've reached that moment. I've dragged on the show a little longer than we normally do, but we were able to get out what we needed to get out. But we reached that point in the show where you guys already know, you're already versed in this. So Holly, go ahead and tell the people where they can get at you, any upcoming things you got going on, so on and so forth. You know what to do.
Yeah, you can check me out on So Please Understand on YouTube. I've dropped some new videos lately for Black History Month. Find me on TikTok at Holly Noon and on Instagram. And again, catch us every Wednesday at 6:30 on YouTube and Facebook, The MulTYversed. So yes, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment on our videos. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Till next week.
Yay. Tyrone.
Yeah, follow me at Tyrone Thornhill on all socials. Especially while I try to position myself to get more active in social media, because it's, I've been waiting about 20 years for it to die, and it's just not going to die. So I guess it's time for me to just go ahead and understand that it's going to be here forever. So follow me.
Oh man. Really quick. Because listen, we normally do the show for an hour, guys. We're here longer than we typically are.
Mm-hmm.
Comment section has a quick question. Do you feel it's all Batman's fault? Instead of building Batmobiles and caves to fight crime, shouldn't he have been creating job opportunities so people wouldn't turn to crime? You guys, either of you guys want to answer that?
Oh, as far as civics go and actually stopping crime and stuff like that, it is undeniable that if people have access to well-paying jobs and the help that they need, you would have much fewer, you would have far fewer criminal elements and stuff. Now, in this fantasy world of supervillains and stuff like that, it's likely that the Riddler just wants to go out and throw riddles at people and make them think and stuff. And Joker wants to go out and do his Joker stuff. So will it stop supervillains? Maybe not. But there will be a lot fewer drug dealers for Batman to punch in the face if if people had opportunities and assistance and public assistance and things like that. So yes, that money could go to better things. Absolutely right.
Holly, you want to chime in, or that was a pretty good surmise? All right, cool.
Yeah.
I think Tyrone hit it on the head. But I will say this: criminals do crimes regardless of whatever else is going on in society. If a person has a notion to do something bad, they're going to do something bad. Does having an opportunity to have a job, kind of decrease the possibilities? Sure. But growing up in an inner city, I could just tell you that people wake up every day with bad shit on their mind. Like whether they're going to work or not, it's just that's just the course of human nature sometimes. But Derby, I just saw your message. You're welcome to come join us for the review. You can hit us in our DMs. Give us your information. We'll reach out. We'll be more than happy to have you on the show. But again, thanks to everybody in the comment section today. Y'all have been great. Thank you to everybody who showed up to come watch us. Again, every Wednesday, 6:30, right here on Facebook, also on YouTube. You can also catch us for follow-ups on these type of things on our show, The New Blurred Order, that comes on Saturdays at 10 a.m. So come tune in, Facebook and YouTube also, and we'll talk about all of these things more in depthly on that side. So again, thanks everybody for coming to join us. We are the Multiverse. I'm Bad Ty Bricks with Tyrone Thornhill and Holly Noon. And until next week, we're out. I'm a little slow on this today, y'all. I've been like crazy, but here we go. We're out.